Well, that's certainly my heart's cry today. That was my Chi-Town brother from another mother. I'm talking about Ty Delaney with Psalms 18. I will call on the name of the Lord. That's one of my favorite joints, y'all. Real talk. I just wanted to start off the day like that because I don't know about you, but this week in particular has pushed me to do just that several times. But anyway, I digress. Welcome into the gray area. I'm your host, Shari Nycole. I'm so excited to be spending another Sunday night with you all. And I got to tell you, I cherish our time together very much. I want to give a shout out really quickly to my Instagram family. I always let them in on the hot topics. I try to, let them in on what I'm talking about at the top of the show before I let them go and force them to catch me on the Philly's Favor app. So shout out to all my Instagram followers who are hanging with me right now. And for those who are hanging with me on the radio, 100.7 FM, Philly's Favor, thank you all so much. And also for those who are tuning in right now on phillysfavor.com, I love you just as much. And in a world of extremes, taboos, and biases, it's often very complicated to meet in the middle, or as I like to call it, the gray area. The gray area is where topics we avoid but need to tackle exist. It's where people on both sides of an issue find understanding. The gray area is where we learn new things about others and ourselves. And what better way to do that tonight than with one of the most promising and powerful voices in gospel music? That's right. I'm only talking about Kalante Gavin. He's got some new music he's going to share with us, and we'll also I'll get in his business a little bit. We'll see what he tells me. But anyway, for those, I want to shout out once again my own Instagram, because I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you all about what you think about what I'm talking about, what the music that's playing, the guests and what they had to say. It's really, really important to me that we have an exchange. So make sure you hit me up on Instagram and Twitter. The handle is the same, at Shari_Nycole. Okay. SHARI_NYCOLE. Your thoughts are very important to me, so make sure you fill me in. Now, I want to start today off. This has been on my heart all week, and I'm sure most of yours as well. Kentucky State Attorney General Daniel Cameron, I will call him his name today. The Lord is working on me. He dealt a huge blow to those fighting for justice for Breonna Taylor when he failed to bring charges against any of the officers. It was 3 of them connected to her death. The only charges handed down were for one of the officers, and there were actually 3 counts of wanton endangerment, which was actually pertaining to the houses that were hit during the shooting, not pertaining to Breonna Taylor's house or her body. So once again, we're looking down the barrel of injustice. And for me as a Black woman in particular, this is a huge blow. Extremely disappointing, but not surprising. And I think that's the thing in our country right now that really, that's the most frustrating. It's like injustice should be something that is a surprise, not an expectation. But oftentimes when you are Black in America, it is just that. So, my thoughts and prayers continue to be with the Breonna Taylor's family, as well as those who are fighting on the front lines for justice. And we're not going to stop. Her family did receive a $12 million settlement, but that will never bring her life back. And ultimately, there are still people that were responsible for her death that, by the looks of it, will not be held responsible. And so that is a big reason why the outrage continues. I'm certainly outraged by it. And the most that we can do, as I shared earlier this week on my show, Just a Thought, is that we need to continue to come together collectively as brothers and sisters in Christ, and race, obviously culturally, interculturally, Black people, we need to do a better job of ensuring that we come together as a collective to progress our movement forward. But also, shout out to everybody who doesn't assimilate with Black culture, but who very much feels like an ally, who's lending a helping hand in the best way they can. We all appreciate you, and it's important for all of us to come together and to find collective ways and tactical ways to continue to progress the movement and to get justice. So I just want to once again shout out everybody who's continuing to fight for Breonna Taylor and her family, and no one's stopping. And if you guys have seen anything, the riots continue, the outrage continues. Peacefully protest. I'm a big fan of that, and I understand that the way to get things done is to have a definitive plan and to move forward in a way of peace. And so my prayers to all of those who are trying to do that, and I speak against any of those who are trying to infiltrate peaceful protests and for other reasons other than bringing justice for Breonna Taylor. So just wanted to let that out. As a Black woman, it's tough out here, and you do feel like your life is not valued in the way that it should be. But I want to encourage all my sisters out here in particular to keep pushing, as we all know how, as we all do innately. It's part of our nature to continue to push and continue to fight. And so we'll continue to do that. And let's love on each other. At the end of the day, love still prevails, and God is still on the throne. So let's continue to love on each other. And just hours ago, before I move on from this, reports rang out that the Kentucky State Police ballistics report does not support Attorney General Cameron's, he's definitely not an attorney general. He's a state's attorney. Excuse me. I gave him a promotion he definitely doesn't deserve. But it does not report his claim that Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, who was in the home with her at the time, shot a police officer the night she was killed. So a lot of development still happening over here. I'll keep you guys posted as I get information. Hopefully you are, getting your own information, because it's very important that we all equip ourselves properly as it relates to things like this so we can move accordingly. Also want to send prayers up for reality star Brandy Maxiell. Close friends of hers and family posted to Instagram yesterday asking for prayers. It was later revealed that she is a former basketball wife star. Obviously, she's hospitalized and battling a severe case of COVID-19. So prayers for her and everybody who's continuing to deal and fight this vicious virus. For those who have overcome it, your testimony definitely is something that continues to encourage me and those who are in the fight. And so prayers definitely for Brandy's family and for her, obviously, and hopefully a speedy recovery to her. And speaking of COVID-19, everyone, just continue to be safe out there. According to several news outlets, 21 states are now reporting increased cases, and experts are warning of a surge in cases this fall. As of today, the number of new coronavirus cases has increased by at least 10% or more, and that's compared to the week before in 21 states. Also important to note that most of these states are out west. So everybody just stay safe. I know that, sometimes we can get a little bit lax. We're in a society now where we're kind of getting used to the mask, and please wear your mask, by the way. We're getting used to it. And sometimes we get a little lax. You have a little Labor Day party or something like that, a little gathering. And sometimes the mask comes down for photos and it stays down longer than it should. So everybody just be vigilant and be mindful of not only your own personal health and well-being, but also that of your brothers and sisters that are around you. So let's make sure we take care of each other. I've got more hot topics on the way, and Gospel's rising star Kalante Gavin will also be joining me in a bit. But first, here's I Gotta Have You by Kirk Franklin, Jermaine Dolly, and Lena Bird Miles. I love that song. It's actually off PJ Morton's new album. Kirk Franklin, Jermaine Dolly, Lena Bird Miles, Gotta Have You. And I'm not a singer like that. I just love music. So for all of my singers out there, or sangers, I should say, did you all check the Jermaine Dolly and Lena Bird Miles runs throughout that entire song? Legit. That's all I have to say. And I gotta have you. It's so timely right now. A lot of things are happening. Obviously, as far as social injustice is concerned, COVID-19 is running rampant. The political sphere is definitely turning. And I want us to be positive, obviously. And we need to look at this thing from the perspective, again, as I said earlier, that God is still on the throne. He's still very much in control. But part of the reason why I'm sitting here talking to you right now is to make sure that you're informed about what's going on. It's always great to have information. President Trump's push for a Supreme Court justice to fill the notorious RBG seat, that's Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat, is heating up. Yesterday, he announced federal judge Amy Coney Barrett as his pick for the Supreme Court. Admittedly, getting her in before the election, I think it's going to be a challenge because it doesn't seem like the Democrats are going to give her any leeway. Okay, Nancy Pelosi in particular is not here for it. Also, Barrett's nomination has been brought to question due to some of her religious affiliations, as well as her take on the Affordable Care Act and abortion rights. All I can say is it'll be an interesting few weeks. And all I'll say to close this out is we all must vote. I say this every time, guys. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm not. But I am here to tell you to vote because your voice matters, your opinion matters, and literally what we do on November 3rd will change the course of history for America. And so we all have a duty to do. Many of our ancestors died for us to have the right to vote. So make sure you guys get out, you use your vote and vote. Okay? Use your voice. Vote. Speaking of voting, the presidential debate is set for Tuesday night. And, I'm looking forward to seeing Joe Biden and Donald Trump go toe to toe. I'm not going to lie. Should be some interesting things that come of that. Due to COVID restrictions, there's going to be no handshake. Okay? Limited audience and no media spin room. So everybody's going to really have to focus on the issues. Not a lot of other things to distract us from that. The debate will take place Tuesday night at Case Western Reserve University. Looking forward to seeing that. And in sports news, because if you know me at all, you know I love basketball. Okay. LA Lakers. And I'm sad about this because I wanted the Denver Nuggets to pull this thing out, but the LA Lakers sent the Denver Nuggets packing in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals last night, beating them 1-7 117 to 107. This will be the LA Lakers' first trip to the finals since 2010. That's a long time. King James and Anthony Davis will await the winner of the Boston Celtics Miami Heat series for the finals. Boston and Miami play tonight. And I've got gospel sensation Kalante Gavin on the way. And I've got also some great music. I'm celebrating some of the most powerful voices in gospel today. And you know, I cannot leave this woman out. Here's Tamala Mann with A Touch From You. Who doesn't love Tamala Mann? I'm just saying. I was Tamala Mann with A Touch From You. And I got to tell you, I need me a little touch right now. It has been a very interesting week. But interestingly enough, there's so many things that can be learned when you're in what I would define as the press. And the press is a time in your life where it just seems like you take one step to take two steps back. Or you think you have a moment to breathe, and then all of a sudden, life hits you and knocks the wind out of you. And then you're like, man, you just can't seem to get out. Or you check everything off of your to-do list, and you think you're smooth sailing, only for about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things to fall on the list in addition to what you just checked off. So I just want to encourage everybody. We're going through some very challenging times, but I hear so many stories about how God is really transforming and reinvigorating people's mindsets and their careers and their relationships. And so I want us to be in anticipation of those things. So a lot of people are saying, I can't wait till 2020 is over. Get me out of this year. And because God is still very much ready, able, and willing to bless you right now amidst everything that's going on. And so if you feel the pressure, just know he's giving you the grace to get through it. If you have a million things on your to-do list, just take them one thing at a time. And admittedly, sometimes I have anxiety because I'm not able to take one thing at a time. I look at one task and then I tack on every single thing in addition that I have to do in addition to that one thing. So for those who are like me, I encourage you, just take it one task at a time. And God is going to grace you to be able to do that. And he would never give you anything that you could not accomplish. And so in this hour, he's asking us to do things that are sometimes outside of what we're accustomed to. He's asking us to do things that we didn't think we could do. He's asking us to do things that we said we wouldn't do again, because he's trying to get us to the next level of our lives. And so I'm very encouraged by that. And I'm choosing to focus on the amazing things that God is doing and the things that he's going to continue to do in this year versus trying to escape it, because there are great things if you expect great things. And I think that's the thing that we should all work on, myself included, is our degree of expectation. Expectation over trepidation. That's my challenge to everybody this week. Expectation over trepidation. So if you're trepidating about something, release that and expect the great. In the words of Jonathan Nelson, that's one of my favorite songs. No, that's not coming up next, but I just thought that might be kind of cool for me to do that connection. If it worked, good. If it didn't, it's all good. But I just want to encourage you guys. And coming up next, Kalante Gavin, gospel superstar. Okay, but before I get him on the line, I want you guys to check out his new single. It's called "Hold Me Close." Oh, okay. Hold on, y'all. I'm just trying to get from up under my table. Give me 2 seconds, man. The wait is over, everybody. That was Kalante Gavin with his new single, Hold Me Close. And after a video of Kalante singing in the school cafeteria went viral, his life literally has not been the same. I'm so excited to be chatting with him. I consider him to be one of the most promising and powerful voices in gospel music. Kalante Gavin, are you on the line, sir?
I'm on the line. What's going on? Shy.
How are you? I'm so happy that you joined me today. And it's interesting because it's funny. This is my first chance getting to actually interview you. So I don't know if you remember.
Yes,
I recently interviewed you. I guest hosted for the Willie Moore Jr. show. It was a couple months ago. I interviewed you then, and then before then, I booked you as a producer for Sister Circle. So it's like I keep running into you, and now I have you on my own show.
Absolutely, now I'm with you. What's going on, man? That's
I'm
Thanks
so
for having
good.
me.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. I just adore you. I love your energy. I love your ministry, and I do want to jump right in. It's been so much going on in our world right now, and your song "Hold Me Close" is so timely. Where were you when this song was birthed? And what are your thoughts now in terms of how people are receiving the record?
Wow, man, you are so right when you're talking about what's going on in our our world today in society, and especially just this generation. I'm 21 years old. I am a Generation Z. I am the millennials' baby brother, little cousin, little one. And one thing that I'm noticing, that even though I'm Generation Z, and with the millennials we have different differences, of course. We're all experiencing what we've been experiencing together at the same time. We've never experienced it before. But I can promise you this, that I believe that I don't think Hold Me Close could have come out or be released at a better time than now. Of course, COVID-19, and the world called it a pandemic, of course, and a crisis. But I found myself personally in a crisis when Hold Me Close was even a thought. And everybody don't know this, but Hold Me Close wasn't even a song. It was a prayer that I was praying in my personal crisis and in my personal storm. Like, I was straying away from God. I was almost out of the Christian faith, and it took a personal encounter for me, of conviction, of saying, you know what, I was blaming God first, but at the end of my prayer, I'm realizing, wait, hold me close. I thought it was you, but it's really me. And so I was close to the cross, but far away from the Christ while in a crisis. And just like our world today, we are close to the cross. We know church. We know how to serve, but a lot of us have been far away from the Christ, and we've been in a crisis. And so 21-year-old me I'm singing a song now, not from conviction, but from accountability now. You know what, Shari, I said it before. I sung when I first came out with Hold Me Close. I was like, hey, God, hold me close. And now I'm singing from a place of, hey, God, I'll never let go. So it's like, man, so just encourage somebody that's out there. You're not alone. I know you feel far away from the faith, and some of you even have some shaky faith, but God is allowing you to go through that crisis to show you how strong you are. So you got this. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that too, because one of the things that I wanted to ask you, I mean, in terms of your generation specifically, a lot of people talk about how, they're not necessarily churchgoers and, bedside Baptists, or disillusioned with the Christian faith altogether. Yeah. And, I'm sure you've had conversations with peers of yours that may not necessarily be in relationship with Christ, or maybe they might be kind of on shaky ground in terms of where that stands. What are those conversations like for you?
They're honoring, they're challenging. I'm learning at 21 that honor is not my acceptance of being the same, but it's my willingness to recognize difference. So it's like, we may not believe the same thing, but at least we can come to a common ground that even if you don't believe that there is a God, that there is something. And as long as I know that the conversations that I've had, that they believe that there is something, that's enough faith for me, for them. I've been at tables with atheists and agnostics, and, to this generation now, there's so much, even when it comes to the universe and equating and whatever. But I'm noticing that they still have faith enough to believe that there is not. And that in itself has been challenging me and really get me to the place of, hey, know the God that you sing about, know the God that you serve. One of the dangers and of me being 21 is I gotta make sure that if this is something that I'm going to do, and being a gospel artist or a Christian, whatever you want to call it, that I gotta know what I'm singing about. I'm scared of the ones that want to do what I'm doing and what others are doing, and they become successful, and by the time they're 10 years in, they realize they left Jesus 10 years behind, and so I really, really, man, it's crazy you said that. I've never been asked that before, but it's been really challenging and hard. Some conversations, God got the glory, heaven was rejoicing because their soul came to the kingdom. Other conversations, I had to walk away and really think. So yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Wow. And speaking of thinking, I'm thinking about, the humble beginnings you started from, and how literally the world fell in love with you when you were just simply in worship in school, in the cafeteria, just in worship, not even really. And I could very much tell it wasn't about pomp and circumstance for you. You were just ministering with your gift, and you needed that moment. You and the Father, you just wanted to turn up with him, and it just happened to be in the cafeteria at school. But what I would ask you is, when you think about Kalante then,
Yes, ma'am.
and how you've journeyed through gospel music, and really superstardom into where you are now, what is one thing that you would say, what is one muscle that has been stretched?
Man, I really got to say my identity. And in terms of, man, my story is so incredible. You're talking about 21 years old. I was gifted and still guilty. Grew up in church, found myself in sexual immorality, molested from the age of 5 to 12. And here it is, you're struggling in your sexuality and identity from a teenager. So even the viral kid was violated and vulnerable, which led the muscle of identity to be stretched. That you are not a worship leader. You are not a singer. You're not a gospel artist. That is something that you do. And the church, we're very quiet on teaching that people can still be gifted and still guilty. One of the famous persons of our Bible is not just Jesus, but it's the psalmist David. David was anointed in the midst of rejection, anointed in the backyard. And after being anointed, it does not say that he goes straight to the palace, but it says he goes back to the backyard. And so I had to realize that even going viral, I went back to the backyard, back to reality, back to living life as usual, back to singing in churches and broken and hurt, and realizing that all of that God was using to get the glory out of it. That, dude, you don't just overcome by the blood of the Lamb, but you overcome by the words of your testimony. And so now my testimony is now telling young people, no, I've seen the mouth of what your identity and struggling in that, and you being attracted to one thing but straying away from one thing. But here it is, you sing over it, and church and music and worship is not fulfilling to you anymore. It's medicine. So what do you do when you're trying to help somebody else is really hurting you? And so that muscle, man, of identity is stretched, because now I'm telling the generation, I know you're an athlete. I know you want to be a barber. I know you want to do hair. I know you want to go in politics. I know you want to serve God in whatever capacity you serve him in, but know that that is something that you do. That is not who you are. And so I found out that the most gifted people wasn't just under the ground, buried 6 feet under, but some of the most gifted people were in church, because we all learn theatrical expression. We all learn how to mask what we should have exposed. So it becomes a secret now. Yeah. So we'll hire the very thing we preach against. And so the secret in the house is killing us, because when them helping us in a church is hurting them, then we've got it mixed up. Then we've all become spiritual molesters, and there's violation in the house. Let's stop the service. Cut the mics off.
Wow.
Let's have a conversation, not a conference.
I love it. I'm really big on conversation, and that's why the gray area was created, honestly, for us to have these type of exchanges. And I know that what you're saying is ministering to a lot of young people out there, and even people that are Gen Zers. Is it Gen Xers? The Pepsi generation, and then people in the middle age. Because everybody walks around with some level of trauma and hurt, and I think that, like you said, we have overcome by the blood of the Lamb, the word of our testimony, meaning that your testimony can bless anybody. They don't necessarily have to be your age. And so I'm grateful that you're sharing in the way that you are. And before we continue on with the conversation, I do want to share your single, I Won't Complain, with everybody, simply because that's how we got to know you. So we'll check this single out, I Won't Complain, by Kalante Gavin, and then we'll keep chatting. I blame myself because I picked that song. I don't know how I'm going to keep this interview going now, because Kalante done took me on out of here. Man. This is what he does. He takes people out of here. But I'm going to try to continue. And I want to ask you, we see this influx of young people, especially in your generation. I'm a millennial in my generation as well. All different creeds, colors, and things of that sort, who are really on the front lines for social justice. Where do you hope to see, the faith-based community kind of intersect with those who are fighting on the front lines for social justice and racial equality? What does that look like in your eyes?
Man, I love one of my favorite stories in the Bible is when Jesus feeds the 5,000. The Bible says that after he had spent some time with the multitude, it says he sees them. When he sees them, then he's moved with compassion. And our generation right now, we're at warfare of not answers being made and policies being created and systemic racism coming to an end. One of the things that we're going to have to understand is that most of the times people are not moved with compassion is simply because they don't see that there's an issue, see that there's a problem.
Correct.
The scripture says that after he sees them, he's moved with compassion, and then he meets a need, not just spiritually. He doesn't just teach him. The story is incredible because he feeds them. He meets them where they are. He does not send them away. And then John's account says that the lunch that they're fed does not come from an older generation, but it comes from a young lad. So we're going to have to look and see the younger generation to see that they're not just the next, but they are the now. That we shouldn't be protesting because we are demanding answers, but we're protesting because we are the answers. So in this next wave of government and the kingdom, there's a merging that's about to happen. We won't just be protesting, but we will be prophetic as well, to say what God is saying, to see what he sees, and to be moved with compassion, that they don't have to go to the same church as you for their need to be met, because we all got needs. You just got to see them. So that's right. That's where we at, man. I get a little happy on that thing. You can't be asking me stuff like that right now.
Let me tell you, but this is why I have you on the show, because this is why I know you get happy, and then I get happy, and then it's real fun. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If anybody has ever met, if you ever get blessed enough to meet Kalante Gavin in person, I'm going to tell you right now, okay, it's going to change your whole day. If you come in upset, sad, moody, mad, whatever, come in contact with this young man, it's going to be, you're going to walk out different.
Oh, man.
So I was very, your energy and your heart and your intention is why I wanted to share you with my gray area audience today, because it's really important. And I'm listening, as I'm listening to you talk, Kalante, it's really fun, but it's also very telling of, what God has in store as you continue to speak about your generation, for this world and for this generation. At 21 years old, to me, you speak not just eloquently, but there's a level of revelation and knowledge behind what you're saying. And so I'm just so encouraged by, and that comes from obedience too. That's not just something that obviously that God has given you ministerial gifts, but there's a level of obedience that you've walked in to be able to attain and ascertain those things. Does that make sense? Wow. So I appreciate that. I see that in you, and I think it's something of great value. And so anytime that I can provide a platform for that type of gifting, I'm going to do that, because there are people out here, including myself, that need to be encouraged. And I know that, anytime that you come in front of a mic, God is giving you a word, whether it's through your musical ministry or whether it's through an interview. So that's why you're here today. There's a reason.
Wow, man. Tears, man. Thank you so much.
Don't crown me, Kalante. Don't crown me now. Don't.
I'm going to hold it together, man. Man, thank God for you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Man. And you talk about a new wave, and I want to before I let you go, which I hate to do because I absolutely love you, but they like to kick me off sometimes. They kick me right off up here, so I have to get off so they don't kick me off. I want to chat a little bit, just briefly, about what are some of the things that we can expect from you as we close out 2020 and go into the top of 2021.
Man, listen, you guys stay tuned, man. I'm actually writing a book that's going to talk about my story. One of the things that I don't like, I can say about viral, is that when somebody goes viral, we don't know where they come from. And so we don't really get enough time to learn their story. So I wanted to write and really put some pen to paper to really express, man, my heart and of sharing with you guys my story, where I come from, the kind of environment I grew up in, my amazing family, the secrets, the sanctuaries, how it was, just growing up, and another thing is I just filmed, and I'm in the process of filming a documentary where I get to really talk about it. It's entitled "I Won't Complain," actually.
Wow.
So I'm working on a documentary, entitled "I Won't Complain," and you're going to hear my story: viral, violated, and vulnerable. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Unbelievable. What has it been like to, music is one thing, but now you're moving into the film side of life. What's something that you kind of discovered about it that you didn't necessarily know you'd come up against as you were doing the documentary?
Man, the authenticity it married to transparency, like, it's so needed. That's what this generation needs. But I'm learning so much about myself, like who I am. Like, wow, like God didn't just call a lot of us just to one thing. We're multi-gifted. So there's some gifts in me that's being unwrapped. When God created Adam, the Bible says he gave him 4 rivers, 4 rivers to manage. So a lot of us got 4 different gifts and stuff. We still trying to learn how to manage.
Yeah.
So I'm with y'all. I'm with you.
That's so true, because I don't know who I was talking to. I may have even been talking on this show about it, but I think we limit ourselves. And I'm glad you brought up that point about gifts, because I don't think we understand. Many of us, there are a multitude of gifts that are housed in us that we just need to tap into and access. And so because we've not done that, we think that we don't have them. And so, also as well, for people who are out here trying to do different things, that's great. Like, let's not pigeonhole each other. Let's not restrict each other to, that's their thing. He's a gospel artist, so he just sings. He has other things that he wants to do, other gifts and other directions that God is pulling him in addition to that. So I encourage everybody, tap into as many, like, really seek out, like, okay, Lord, what are some of the things that you want me to do? Because oftentimes too, your giftings might be nestled into something you don't want to do. I've had that happen to me, where there's been an area of resistance, but nestled in the core of that is actually a gifting that God wants me to use to get me to the next level. So I encourage everybody, look at Moses, just read his story, because he told the Lord, I stutter, I can't even talk right. And the Lord said, you going down to talk to Pharaoh, you're gonna be the man. Moses was like, man, what? So just know anything is possible. Anything is possible.
It's so good.
And before I let you go, Kalante, I want you to just, words of encouragement for those. I was speaking in the show earlier about people who are saying, hey, man, I can't wait for 2020 to be over. Get me out of 2020. Just your words of encouragement to people who are having a tough time with this year and really kind of trying to reach out and embrace all that God has for them right now, who are trying to exit out of 2020 and hurry up and get to the next year. Words of encouragement for those folks.
Yeah, man, I just want to encourage them, man, that even though it's been crazy around them and you've been in a crisis, maybe financially, spiritually, emotionally, you've been unstable, but I want to encourage you that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to their purpose. Listen, we're in September. We got 2-3 more days before we out. I want to encourage you that before the 9th month is out, it takes a woman 9 months to carry a baby. I want to pray that before 2020 is out, you're going to birth the biggest thing you've ever seen in the last 5, maybe for some of y'all 20 years. All right? So be encouraged. There is still a call in your life, and God's hand is on your life, and he ain't going to let you slip. And if you do slip, he going to pick you up. God's got you. You got this. Yeah.
Boom. There's nothing else to be said about that. Kalante, I love you. I am so happy for you and proud of you. And, I got to have you back sometime soon. Thank you so much for stepping into the gray area. You guys can make sure you follow Kalante on Instagram at Kalontae, KELONTAE_Gavin, GAVIN. Make sure you follow him. All right, guys. Kalante, thank you so very much for being a part of the gray area, stepping in and chatting with me today. And we got to do it again soon.
You know it. Love you. Call me back.
I will. Kalante Gavin, everybody. Love you too. Kalante Gavin, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed that conversation. And it's always great to step into the gray area with a young person with a heart and in a level of intention that he has. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Can't wait for us to do it again next week, 7 p.m., same place, same time. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Shari, SHARI_Nycole, NYCOLE. It's been real. Love you guys. Be encouraged. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday.